Inventory wipes, freight elevators are stuck, players shard locked out of their own sessions, and CIG just dropped their official bug list for 4.8.1. And it paints a darker, more broken picture of this patch than most people realize. We're not talking about one or two rough edges here. Cargo hauling, mining, bounty hunting, mercenary work, salvaging, looting, FPS missions, almost every major game loop in Star Citizen right now has an active bug hitting it. And the community isn't just asking when it gets fixed, they're asking if it even can be. So CIG put out a known issues post on Spectrum for Alpha 4.8.1. And look, this is the kind of communication the community has been asking for since forever. They're being open about what's broken, they're organizing it, and they're telling you where each issue actually stands. Let's start with the first section of the post, the currently under investigation section. These are the bugs CIG is actively working on. Nothing has been fixed in the live build yet, but they are under investigation. First, we have inventory is becoming completely unavailable for players. Your backpack, your station storage, your loot containers, all of them showing up empty or totally inaccessible. CIG says they've identified a likely cause, but there's still no fix shipped to live yet. This one hits pretty much everyone: cargo haulers, salvagers, looters, FPS mission runners, all of them. The second thing is the docking issues. Docking issues are still being reproduced internally. They're aware of the reports, but they haven't isolated the cause yet. Mined ores are also disappearing after you store a vehicle. So you go out, you mine, you store your ship or your ROC, and when you come back, your ore is just gone, which is completely game-breaking for mining. CIG's current theory is that the resource containers are reverting back to a previously saved state every time something gets stowed and unstowed. This is a direct hit on mining as a game loop. The QV warehouse loot isn't responding correctly as well if someone loots without actually finishing the mission. So if one player rushes in, grabs everything and leaves without completing the objective, the next crew that comes in finds an empty warehouse and a mission they can't finish. FPS mission runners and looters are actually burned by this one specifically. Now for the Ironclad oxygen issues. CIG says most of the affected rooms have been resolved, but there are still reports coming in for a small number of locations. A more comprehensive fix is being planned for a future update, not this one. The Ironclad situation is such a sad one because it was one of the most anticipated ships ever, and it is a great ship if it actually works, and a lot of people are trying, believe me, they're trying their best to just use the ship while trying to find workarounds with the issues they are facing. With 4.8.1, there are fixes that has been, done to the Drake Ironclad, but still people are facing issues and it's really frustrating. So hopefully all the issues with the Ironclad could be resolved because a lot of people really want to play the game with this ship. Moving on with crafted items. Crafted item stats aren't showing up in the item description when you're inside an inventory space. So after you spend time and resources crafting something, you can't even see the stats on what you just made to verify it worked. This affects anyone who's been putting time into the crafting loop, which is a long time. If you want to craft something, you have to go and mine it and face issues with the mining, and then try to craft it with the crafting station, and then you find this bug, so it's really just frustrating. No one is gonna waste time trying to do this. Now moving on to the refueling notifications and helpful hints. They are getting stuck, and when that happens, it blocks everything else. Party invites, mission shares, any UI prompt just stop appearing. This one cuts across bounty hunting and mercenary work specifically, because if your party invites and mission shares aren't going to work, you can't coordinate with your crew at all. CIG does have a workaround in the post, and I'll link it in the description, but it's a workaround and not a fix. So this is also a game-breaking bug. Now the big one, the shard lock situation. So players are getting kicked out of sessions or straight up unable to join one at all. CIG is calling this a high priority investigation. They say they've already addressed some of the contributing factors, but it's still happening. And this one doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter what you're doing, anything in the game basically, because you are locked out, you are shard locked out of the game, which means that even if you use a VPN or if you try anything at all, it's just not working. And also, the Drake command module is playing quantum travel spooling audio when it's spawned or streamed while attached to a host vehicle without stopping. CIG knows about it and is under review for a future update, so don't expect that one to be fixed anytime soon. Such a huge list of bugs, and they are still under investigation, let alone the ones that they're not under investigation, which we're going to talk about later. Moving on to the next section, which is the pending implementation section. Now, this is the section that actually gives you something to look forward to, because these are the fixes that are already done internally, but they just haven't shipped it yet. So, fuel nozzles on ships not being detachable or swapped, it's being fixed internally for the Starfarer. The refueling exchange showing wrong values between micro SCU and SCU also fixed. Player asphyxiating inside the Drake command module even with a helmet on has been fixed, which is pretty good to hear. Pressure and temperature spiking inside the command module during navigation has also been fixed. High pressure in certain Ironclad areas under undocking and redocking the command module also been fixed. The Ironclad tractor beam controls have been improved, better range of motion and camera handling, which is a big deal for anyone trying to actually use it for cargo work. The ROC and the ROC-DS and the Prospector mining heads now align properly with the mining reticle, so miners at least have that coming. But with the other issue that their mining ore just disappears, I don't know about that. But moving on, the visual issues on the Bano Defender and the Cartual paints are resolved. The Argo MPUV tractor pilot seat exit is working again. The Mirai Guardian radar orientation has been corrected. Material issues on the MISC Prospector front hull are fixed. The Stinger canopy and HUD visual artifacts from rain and wear effect are fixed. And the F7 Mark I turret weapons are persisting correctly and can be swapped again. So that's a solid list. The frustrating part is none of it in the live yet, and also some of the fixes are just minor. Yes, the Ironclad fixes are great, but what about the freight elevators? Now let's talk about what actually is fixed and is currently live in the PU right now. So first we have also, at no surprise, the Drake command module. Randomly undocking during quantum travel or general flight. That one's done, thank God, because this was an awful bug. It was fixed in the latest release, so if you're losing your command module mid-jump, that should be stored right now. The Aegis Tiburon tracking pips jittering out of position has been fixed as well in the latest bug. It's a small fix, but if you're flying the Tiburon, that was genuinely annoying to deal with, which I have. When I tried the Tiburon the first time, I was dealt with this bug, but it wasn't that big of a deal. I could just aim the actual laser because it was his scan, you know? So the Sulin interaction buttons being difficult or flat out impossible to use has been fixed, thank God. I'm guessing this is a prerequisite to the Railen that is coming because it has the same buttons. So if you own the Sulin and couldn't interact with anything properly, that has been resolved. And on top of that, there's more recent hotfixes to the 4.8.1 live hotfix that brought in additional fixes beyond what's listed here. So I'll drop the link to the full hotfix notes in the description so you can see exactly what came in with that one. So fixes are happening, the live build is getting patched, but these are the small list of fixes that has been actually released to the game. Alright, moving on to the more important sections in my opinion, because they're talking about freight elevators. The freight elevator bugs are one of the worst bugs in the game because you can't cargo haul, and the latest ship, the Railen, is a cargo hauler. And so if the freight elevators are broken, the ship is useless, and any cargo ship is useless. So let's just see what they're talking about in this section. Now, unfortunately, these aren't bugs they're actively investigating yet. These are issues they're aware of and working on, but haven't even gotten to the investigation stage properly, and the list is not small. Now, this is a little bit frustrating to me because this is like up there with the shard lock situation, because if you can't, well, first of all, the inventory, the freight elevators, those bugs are game breaking. You can't play the game without these like features functioning. They have tied everything in the game of you accessing the freight elevators. If you want components, if you want to store any loot, if you want the cargo stuff, even if you want the crafting station, everything comes out and in from the freight elevators. So if the freight elevators are broken, you can't really play the game. And so it frustrates me that this is still not even implemented internally yet. Maybe it's a bigger issue that we know, which is probably is. Anyways, let's get into what's actually in this section. The freight elevators are getting stuck in personal hangars and blocking cargo access completely. And on top of that, the freight elevators are also getting stuck at outposts, which means hauling missions can't be completed at all. So if your entire gameplay loop is built around cargo hauling, you're getting hit twice by the same category of bug in 2 different locations. Your hangar elevator doesn't work, and the outpost elevator doesn't work either. We also have problems with the quantum markers. Quantum markers are going missing across the PU, which means navigating to destinations is being impacted across the board. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If your quantum markers aren't showing up, you can't get where you need to go or do anything in the game. Also, jump points markers are going missing as well after you transit through them, in the Ironclad specifically. So you jump through, and on the other side, your markers are just gone. You're stuck and you have nothing to do. Now, to no surprise, the Ironclad as well has issues here, is also dealing with atmospheric inconsistencies, which was talked about before, that are affecting environmental conditions aboard the ship, which on top of the oxygen issues that's still being investigated and the pressure problems in the command module areas, the Ironclad is having a really rough time in this patch across multiple systems all at once. Completely broken. We also have extremely low interior temperatures that are being reported inside certain ships. So behind the Ironclad specifically, these are ships where the temperature inside is dropping to dangerous levels. The command module radar displays are failing to appear in some situations. So on top of the audio bug we mentioned earlier with the quantum travel spooling sound, the command module is also losing its radar display entirely in certain cases. So I have a fix for this. Get rid of the command module. Honestly, it has been so broken and people are questioning, do we even need it? It's just a gimmick at this point, right? And they're moving the pilot control to the bridge in the Ironclad. You know, they just want to avoid the command module as much as possible. But finally, the end of the list, moving an undersuit into your inventory is causing equipment functionality issues. So something as simple as managing your character's clothing loadout can break your gear. If you're running FPS missions or doing something that requires your equipment to actually work, this one can quietly ruin your session without you even realizing what caused it. That's 8 additional issues being tracked on top of everything already listed in the other sections. And remember, this isn't the investigation list, which is the most frustrating part. This isn't the pending list. This is a separate category on top of all of that. They're just tracking it at this point. So this was the thread that they have posted on Spectrum, listing all the known issues, what's being under investigation, what's being fixed, etc. The thread hit 342 replies out of the moment of filming this video, and the community feeling right now is not outrage anymore. It's exhaustion and skepticism. Some people appreciated CIG making this post, but the dominant feeling in the thread is that freight elevators should be the single highest priority right now, which is what I just said, and it's true. Not because it's one broken thing, but because it breaks everything connected to it. Hauling missions, hangar management, cargo loops, and not just that, everything in the game almost needs freight elevators. And the community doesn't feel like the post reflects how serious that actually is. There's a deeper concern being raised, and this one is harder to dismiss, is that the issues hitting the game right now aren't just individual bugs. Players are pointing out that when the network gets stressed, everything collapses at the same time. Inventory, elevators, the shard lock problem, and the cargo, all of it at once. And the worry is that this is something structural, not something a hotfix can patch. This is what I said when, can this even be fixed by the infrastructure that they have built for the servers? The trust isn't there anymore right now. Not because the community hates CIG, which some of them do, but the people are still posting on Spectrum clearly care about the game. But the Ironclad launched with atmospheric problems and oxygen problems and a whole other list of problems. Some of these issues are still in the pending implementation list right now. And this is a problem because people have no faith in them shipping new ships that are functioning. For example, the Railen. People are saying, okay, we're not getting the Railen at all.
We're not going to even think about it if the Railen, unless the Railen ships out with no problems, which people don't trust because, well, the history speaks for itself. Some of the ships that gets released right now are completely broken and for no reason. This ship could have been tested properly in the PTU. That's my opinion. Test. And then once the test concludes and people are giving feedback, then they could fix it. And only after it's fixed and functioning properly should it be added to the game. How much effort and time and energy and manpower was being focused on the command module that I'm assuming not a lot of people even care about. We don't care about the command module as much as we care about the freight elevators, which helps us play the game. If I have a C2, why do I care about the command module? I care about the freight elevators working so I'm able to cargo haul or any other ship that isn't the Ironclad or the Caterpillar. So this is the frustrating part, is that they're putting so much effort in something that could have been prevented, in my opinion. If it was broken in the PTU, then don't release it yet. Delay it a little bit. But of course they couldn't do that because of the sales event, because of the defense con. How could they postpone that? That doesn't make any sense. And this is the frustrating part again. And speaking of which, the Railen problem. This is the part nobody wants to say out loud, but Alien Week is this week. The Gattac Railen is dropping soon, first alien cargo ship, and people are genuinely excited for it, including myself. But right now, the live build has broken inventory, broken freight elevators, shard lock, missing quantum markers, and the Ironclad atmospheric fixes that still haven't shipped. The exact same category of problems the Ironclad launched with. So how are you launching a cargo ship without freight elevators working? And how could people have faith or trust in you shipping the Railen without having so many bugs like what happened with the Ironclad? And guess what? The Railen is still not in the PTU right now, and I'm guessing it's not going to be, so they're just gonna release, and we're just hoping, fingers crossed, that everything works and nothing is broken. But it's probably going to be broken, and that is a big problem. And that was everything in CIG's official 4.8.1 known issues post, and when you put it all together, this is a more darker and more broken patch than people have actually realized. But what do you guys think? Are you hitting these bugs or somehow not facing them? Do you think CIG can fix this, or is this a structural problem that goes way deeper than individual bugs? But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a lot. The channel is growing rapidly, which is a good thing. I appreciate every single one of you. So thank you guys so much, and as always, I will see you in the verse.